Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the show. Today we've got another ZMS race for you, the Love Team Time Trial. We're into week 6 with a 13-team head-to-head showdown. Now we've got 12 of the 13 teams racing today, and we'll give the result of the 13th team that took part that we weren't able to cover. But 12 teams running head-to-head, here they are on screen, and there's a couple of new ones here. So we'll run through them as we go through the broadcast. I can see the name Misfits, which is a new one to me, but all the regulars look to be there, which is very, very nice. Now we've got the map of the course on screen, and you can see it is absolutely pan flat. Yes, a couple of rises, but to be fair, these rises won't even involve a gear change, I wouldn't have thought, looking at that course. We'll see when we get the actual profile whether there's any red in it, but I suspect not. This looks like one for certainly the riders to stay in the big ring and just power it out. Now I'm looking forward to this because I've been under the weather again. We got COVID again at this house, so I'm having trouble with my breathing, but we should be okay for today's broadcast. 23.9 kilometers to go, so it's a slightly longer course, or slightly shorter depending on which version you looked at. But yeah, 24 kilometers, that's just about what, 45 minutes the speed these guys will go, maybe a bit less for some, so it should be a good race. Yeah, James is just saying highlight of my RGT viewing week, and I agree, James. For me, because I'm not doing an awful lot at the moment, this is really a highlight. I really enjoy being asked to come back and commentate, and really looking forward to getting into the teams, which we will do, folks. When we have them highlighted on screen, I'll tell you a bit more about them. But here we go, we're off and away, and we've got the 12 team view on screen at the moment, but very quickly we're going to be switching to either the side-by-side or individual views, and then we can have a look at the teams and see how many members they're putting out today, and who's got the full complement of 6 and who's got, here we go. So we're into the running now. Now here we can see Misfits, and they've got the full complement of 6 riders. Now I do know many of these riders, Nick Hall, Stuart Blackmore, Hawaii, Paul Nichols. So yeah, Moni looks to be a new rider to me. I'm not that familiar, I don't think, with Moni, unless he's showing the Ukraine flag, but that could just be for support, or is he actually from Ukraine? Anyway, this is a new team made up of some of the riders which have taken part in the past, so they will know the score. Hopefully expect them to stay together as a unit. They should be by now getting into the routine. They do look fairly well drilled, so we'll come back to these a bit later and see how they're getting on. But this is the new team, Misfits. Nice to see them. Now this is one of the regular teams in this last few weeks, West London VR. They joined the party late, but since then they've been putting in some good rides, and it's nice to see them this week with the full complement of 6 riders. So they've obviously listened to me from last week, where they weren't able to put out full teams, and although, was it West London last week, or was it anyway, but we do have a full complement this week, which is good to see. This is a very strong team. No, they didn't have a full complement, because I remember Stu Fawn last week, you might remember, had the ride of the day with that amazing 800 meter pullback that he did after a dropout. So yeah, this team's got class and strength in depth. We'll have a better look at them a bit later, but I do know many of these, like Paul Dickinson, Morrison, Thacker, Yates, and Stu Thorne. The only one I'm not familiar with is Hinter, but I'll have a look at him a bit later when I get a chance to get it back on RGTDB. OTR Green, now well-known team, but sadly down to 5 members this week. But they've got a good team out here. They've got Nick Walker, looks to be standing in. They've got Gibault, who's always a strong rider for them. Bennett, Swank and Bayham. So a good fivesome here. They should do well. And they again are very experienced now. They've done it from the start, so they know the score, they know to stay together. Remember folks that only 3 riders have to finish, but the more riders you can keep together in the early part of the race, the more you're going to save on your ammunition, on your effort needed to stay in the group. And that's going to pay dividends towards the end of the race. More about that as we go into it. Viper, now this poor team have really struggled, and it is nice to see them. All right, they had 5 members this week, but it looks like Mason is off the back. Now this is a regular happening for Viper. They do tend to sort of like push on the front with their strongest riders and drop off riders off the back. I hope that these 4 can stay together. Mason is 50 meters behind. Very much doubt he's going to get back on. Now he might have had a technical, but if you look at the wattage that the riders are putting out and the wattage that Mason's doing, it's pretty clear he's not able to keep pace. And that could just be, you know, Mason enjoys taking part in the event, but he's just not as strong as his compatriots. And that's a little bit sad. Yes, maybe think about joining another team that's more in his category, because to be dropped like this every week can't be fun. And I hope I'm not doing him a disservice, but it's pretty obvious that these 4 riders, the way they're pulling away from him, look, already 100 meters. But it's nice to see they've managed to recruit a couple more riders, so they're no longer down to sort of like 2 riders and waiting for the 3rd to finish. Shields looks like he's struggling to stay with them too, so maybe the new recruits are a little bit too strong. But here we can see TFC. Now these are relative newcomers as well. We've seen them a couple of times, and TFC, well-drilled unit, because they've got some riders who know the score when it comes to team time trialing. But they still need to practice a little bit, because you can see clear gaps here in the drill, and really you should be within half a wheel of each other. But there'll be a bit of difference in power output between the riders. The great thing is they've got 6, and if they can stay together as a unit, then they should do well in the timings. But we get a better chance to look at that as we go further into the race. You know, when they're starting off, the riders are settling down, and we have seen, I mean, we've seen as much as 10-12 seconds overturned from the halfway point. So you know, you can't take the early distances that we're seeing on screen here too much to heart. Now OTR Blue all wearing the jerseys to support Ukraine, which is nice to see, but only 4 members. Now I did see a call out for OTR Blue, and in fact I think it was OTR Green from James. Yeah, it's tough with 4. I agreed, Gordon. It's very tough when you're down some members. I would have loved to have stood in, but both myself and Hilke tested positive again for the 2nd time with COVID on Friday, so I couldn't have stepped in anyway, and I'm damn sure I couldn't have done this pace. I might have been able to help out Green, and will do so in future weeks if I'm available. But it's nice to see that 4 members made it. Hopefully we can stay together, these 4. I think they will. They're a very well-drilled unit. NZ Bro, Beached. These are a new team, Beached. So I've not seen this team before. I've seen some of the riders before, but I've not seen this particular team. And in fact, some of the riders as well are new to me. I know Rooney, Bleakley and Hans. Don't know Bjerdal. Haggerty, obviously. So yeah, I know most of these. I don't know who DJ is, but they've got a full complement of 6 riders. They look strong. Now we know Rooney, who you saw just putting in the spurt there. Rooney is a very strong rider, so he'll be one of the ones to watch with this group. But hopefully the stronger riders will make sure they keep the less stronger riders, I dare to say, on their wheels, and that's the key. The key is that the stronger riders do the longer pulls on the front, but and as I say, I'm not really calling them, but I have to say the word weaker riders draft more. They still do a turn, but they draft more so that the unit can stay together. Now this is my team, my ex-team, 3R True 2. In the 3R colours. Lovely to see these guys, Graham Saunders, Jonathan Geddes, Withers, Smith and Stone, Jonathan Stone. A team that's very, very close to my heart because I spent so much time over on Swift with them when we started the whole True 2 thing. So yeah, I really like to see this team doing well, and I don't think they need me to say that. I think they're going to do it on their own. They know the score. By now, they're pretty practiced in riding these team time trials, not just on RGT, but over on Swift as well. But Swift is a different kind of drafting, so yeah, they've taken a little while to get used to it here on RGT. But having spoken to the majority of the riders here, they love it. They love the realism of RGT. Okay, here's OTR Black, and they also have a full complement. Some of them wearing the blue and yellow jerseys, but some in their original OTR jerseys. Looking good. We've got Keith, who we know is one of the strongest vets on the whole RGT platform. But Petrokius is, I think I pronounced that wrong, but yeah, you get the idea. Soderbergh, Simmons, really strong riders. So expect this group, they should stay together. They're a pretty experienced unit, and once they get into the rhythm, we should see them staying together and doing well. So we've run through the majority of the teams, not them all yet, but we've run through the majority. I'm just going to avert my eyes to the running now and see. It does look like No Pins are currently got the lead on Poker Motion. Now we've not looked at either of those two teams yet, but we will get to them. In fact, we've not even looked at the top 3. I suspect we'll be doing so now. So this is Ciboire CCS. They have 5 riders out this week. Now they had a lesser complement last week. Was it 4? Or was it, anyway, they had a lesser complement last week, and they paid for it. And I said they would. I said they would pay for having a lesser team out, lesser in terms of numbers, not in terms of performance, folks. And you pay for that because you cannot compete with a team that's fielding 6 members if those 6 members are all equally strong. Now this team looked to be riding really well and all equally strong, but there's only 5. And so you're going to have a difference in pacing. Here we've got Poker Motion. Again, only 5 riders. So they're going to be at a disadvantage because I'm pretty sure No Pins will have fielded 6 riders. I can say that before even looking at the team. I just know them from heart. And they would have fielded 6 riders because they have a big crew to choose from. So No Pins have already got the advantage in terms of rider numbers and being able to swap riders from the front and get more recovery. And that's why you see in this team, and there you go, 6 of the strongest riders they can put out, including Greeley, the absolute beast of an engine that tends to give everything up until the last few kilometres. But here we go, 6 riders, all taking fair turns on the front, all doing the work, and this team know the score. They've been untouchable, to be fair. Poker Motion, when Poker Motion had 6 members out, ran them very, very close. But to be fair, No Pins, when they've got a full complement and the other teams are down 1 or 2, it's no competition. You're only talking about maybe 200 or 300 meters, but that's enough. That's more than enough for a team of this caliber, because we do know that they raise it towards the end, as do the other teams, don't get me wrong. So here you can see, whoa, this is pretty close actually. The new team from MZ Bro are running no pins. So no pins have got a new challenger, folks. They've got a new challenger on the block. Beach DS are running them pretty close here. I think it's about 150 meters at the moment, which is darn close. Excuse me. Yeah, this is exciting to watch, because another challenger into the mix. We're coming into, you know, pretty soon we're going to be coming into the finals and the playoffs and everything else for the different positions and the different leagues. I mean, don't forget there's 3 leagues to this competition, and there's still wildcard entries available. So if you know, if you're thinking of putting a team forward, get it done. Get in here. Here we can see Pokemon. Well, we did. They've gone off screen at the moment. But OTR Black, how are they doing? They're 30. Yeah. So currently in 4th place, OTR Black. Oh no, they're not, because NZ Bro Beached are really up there. So currently in 5th place, OTR Blue looking at 13.9. It's a little bit difficult when we're flicking backwards and forwards like this to determine the distances. But yeah, let's have a look. OTR Blue really are fighting it out with 3R True 2. So it'd be nice to see those two side by side if we can get them a little bit later. I mean, Damon does an amazing job with his broadcasts, giving me the side-by-sides, and we can compare the speeds of the different teams. Now, OTR Green, they're going to be, who are they battling it out with? Let's have a look who's closest to them. Well, they're 3R True 2, so OTR Green and 3R True 2 are also another team within 100 or 200 meters of each other. Here we've got Viper, and who's the other team? We've got no thing on. I can't remember who the other team are. Moni in them, I should know. And I've just been told that Beach were just NZ Bro before. So yeah, that's why I've seen the riders before. So yeah, nice to see. Is this Misfits we're seeing? Yes, it is. This is Misfits and Viper we're seeing on screen. I'm pretty sure it's Misfits with Moni in the team. So I'll wait for confirmation. But there's a bit of difference between those two teams. So I think that's a little bit, yeah, Viper and Misfits. There's 600 meters difference there. So yeah, we're not going to see that change, I don't think, unless we can get a big turnaround. Yeah, West London, they're still running 4 of the 6 members up front, but they've now dropped off 2 members. Now it's okay to do that, folks. Certainly, you know, if you're about the halfway point, but don't do it too early, because you lose out on the drafting benefits of being a team. And like I always keep coming back to, for the top teams, that's crucial. Now we're looking at the 10-kilometer split here on screen, and the times go from sort of like least to the most. You can clearly see that no pins have got the advantage here. And to be fair, that's 14 seconds. That is not going to get overturned. But you never say never, but that's not going to get overturned. What's more useful to see is that NZ Bro and Pokemotion, there's 7 seconds between those two, and only 2 seconds between 3rd and 4th with Ciboire. So those positions could change. 15 seconds further back, you've got OTR Black. and they have a healthy lead over OTR Blue. So I don't see a battle there between the two OTR black and blue teams. However, 3R True 2 are stuck in the middle somewhere. They're putting in a storming ride. Not sure. I hope they can overturn OTR Blue's time, even though OTR Blue are my team. But I'm saying I hope only for the competition, not because I'm being favourites or anything. But then you've got OTR Green. They're too far away again. So these timings are not giving close battles in a lot of the standings, with the exception of you've got TFC and West London. They're within 2 seconds of each other. So let's call out the close battles. You've got TFC and West London VR. They're within 2 seconds of each other. So there's a battle going on there, and that can be changed around. Let's have a look when we look at the standings later. But then the only real other battles are between the top 4. Although I do think no pins are out in front and won't get caught. But 2nd, 3rd and 4th could well change around. Yes, it's a big ask from Pokemotion to pull back 7 seconds, but it's not a big ask for Sidwire to pull back 2. So, you know, there's chance for this to change around. And what we will get, folks, at the end is we will get the 10-kilometre split and the final standings on screen at the same time. So we'll be able to see which teams were able to pull back in the second half of the race. Don't forget, it's 24 kilometres, so the 10 kilometres comes just before the halfway point. Now, the teams that have dropped off riders, like we saw West London VR had dropped down to 4 from 6, they're going to lose out because those 2 members they've dropped off could have helped with the drafting. Yes, they obviously not strong enough to stay with the 4 up front, and there's an argument for saying, well, do we slow down as a group or do we go on ahead? I would say if you're over the halfway point, there's an argument for pushing on. But if you're less than the halfway point, I don't know, I just tend to think you can get some benefit from having more members helping you with the drafting. But I don't know, it depends how quickly the gap goes out. And looking at this, already 570 metres to Morrison in 5th place. Yeah, I think West London have called this correctly. I think waiting up for riders so far behind, you know, and allowing them to sort of like having to wait to let them get back on doesn't really make an awful lot of sense if you're that much stronger. And the same goes for these TFC team. They've obviously dropped off Dykes now, who's 500 metres behind. We're beyond the halfway point, so yeah, good call again. If your member can't stay with you, then yeah, just let him drop off the back. He'll ride his own race, and these 5 will go on. I mean, 5 is better than 4, so they're doing a good ride here. And it'll be interesting because TFC are fighting it out here with Viper, who are now down to 4 riders. They've dropped Mason. We saw Mason drop off actually very near the start. Mason wasn't able to stay with the team. So yeah, we can see that Viper have done the right thing here by going on ahead. I mean, waiting for somebody who's obviously not capable of matching your wattage is just absolutely stupid, and they wouldn't make a mistake like that. It's just a shame for Mason. I do feel sorry for the lad because every week he seems to end up riding on his own, and I can't help thinking that maybe he should volunteer for a team where the teammates are more around his wattage. Anyway, OTR Green, a team I'm very familiar with Mr. Byam and Bennett, etc. They're doing very well as well in this one. They're in front of Viper and TFC, slightly behind OTR Blue, but only 600 metres. I'm not saying they're going to close the 600 metres, but it will be interesting by the end to see how close they can pull that. 3R True 2, Lovely to see 5 of their riders still together. Yes, they've dropped Smith now. We don't know why, maybe because Smith's putting out good wattage here. He's putting out 3.5 there. So did Smith have a technical, or did he just decide, okay, that's my work done, enough from me today? I suspect it's not Mr. Smith deciding he's had enough, because he's a very strong rider. So I suspect it might have been something like a technical. I could be wrong. Comments if you want to comment on screen for me to let me know. OTR Blue, 4 members. Yeah, but 4 very strong members. James Ogilvie, team leader and team captain of OTR. It's lovely to see James riding. He doesn't always make it, but I always like to see him on the scene because he's such a very experienced rider. And I'm sure, you know, he's instrumental in keeping not just this team, OTR Blue, but the whole of the OTR teams in check. He's a great leader to have. OTR Black. Yeah, with Peter Brookrival running away on the front. And you can see 5.8 watt kilos he's putting out here on the front, pulling them along. A very strong rider, Peter. Rider, again, I love to see in the mix. Now, they've managed to drop Keith from OTR. Don't know what's happened with Keith. Again, a strong rider. Now, he's only 300 meters behind. So Keith, I don't know whether he'll push and try to get back, or whether he's pushing 3.8 watt kilos. I don't know whether something has happened there. Again, I have no way of knowing, folks, when we see riders the caliber of Keith dropped out the back. We don't know whether it's just something mechanical, a puncture, a virtual puncture, a dropout, or what's happened, or whether it's just, yeah, he's done his bit, he's pushed as hard as he can, and at this moment in time, that's enough for him. We just don't know. Sometimes I wish I had a direct link audio wise. Maybe one day we'll get that in RGT. We'll get an audio app that allows us to talk directly to the riders. I know you can use Discord, but Discord, yeah, it's too much trouble for me, and it does cause issues with some of the other programs I run as well. But yeah, that's for the future. I mean, RGT, the pace at which Misfits first riders as a team, says Joni, yeah. But yeah, RGT have improved the performance of their platform overwhelmingly this last year, and it's moved on in leaps and bounds. And there's no better advertisement than RGT than to get national championships. Like we recently, ZMS and Damon, we recently covered the Canadian Championships on RGT, and that was a huge boost for us. So yeah, it's come along in leaps and bounds, and everybody that takes part says how realistic it is. So folks, if you want to get your riders on RGT and have a go at this team time trialing, you know, get in touch with James over at OTR, because this is fantastic action and great to see. Okay, sorry, I'm busy talking and not commentating on the action, but you can see that no pins, they've maintained the 700 meter gap up front, but Poker Motion and Sibwa are neck and neck. So Sibwa have actually pulled back, and in fact, Sibwa, I think, were in 4th place, weren't they? So Sibwa have pulled back placings here. Fantastic riding from them, and in fact, they're shooting it out with Poker Motion, as you can see on screen here. Nothing between them, maybe less than 100 meters, because they both changed there within. Yeah, both changing almost within fractions of a second of each other. So there's nothing between those two teams. And these two, No Pins and Beached, absolutely neck and neck. Well, not neck and neck, but less than 100 meters between them. So this is coming down to the wire, folks. What I suspect has happened here is that beached, sort of like were just pacing themselves. I mean, they're really, I don't know who this journal is, but he's obviously a very strong addition to this team, because they are looking super strong towards the end. And can they overturn this? I mean, can they actually catch No Pins, who were head and shoulders out the front? We're not, because NZ Bro are so far down the list. Look, they're not showing in their correct placings when it comes to showing the distances left. So I'm actually missing it on the screen, but there you can clearly see that NZ Bro and No Pins are within 100 meters of each other, maybe a little bit more, less than 200. So there is a possibility that these two, I mean, yeah, there is a possibility that these two could come in very close. And then, of course, you've got Pokemotion and Sibwa punching it out together. And they are neck and, well, in fact, they're both showing 3 kilometers each to go. So absolutely, really, really close riding. And even further down the field, we have some close riding as well. More about that because we're concentrating here on what's happening up front. And Pokemotion and Sibwa are just, yeah, they're just going backwards and forwards. One of them's in front, one of them's behind. Absolutely unbelievable here, what these two teams are putting out. I think there's going to be less than a few seconds difference between these two teams, because they're so close together now. Amazing riding. And it's nice to see that they're on a level, they're both 5 riders each, so they're more or less on a level playing field in terms of riders. So yeah, here we go. Look, we've got, this is the distance left to cover. Okay, is it? Yes, it is, and this is in the correct order. So you've got No Pins, NZ Bro, and then you've got Sibwa and OTR Black. But Pokemotion are further down the field, look, and they're running Sibwa very, very close. OTR Black have pulled back some of that distance they dropped at the 10-kilometer split. I'm going to be very excited to see the 10-kilometer and the final standings, because some of the teams have put in second half results which are outstanding and really go towards good team tactics. When you can do that, when you can turn around, you know, really big gaps. And here you can clearly see there's less than 100 meters between these two teams up front, both hammering it from the front. Look at this. Yeah, less than 100 meters, folks, between these two teams. NZ Bro, now don't forget, only 3 riders to count. So No Pins are staying together as a threesome. They're looking like they've got the advantage here with 400. Yes, they have. So No Pins are going to take it, but not by a lot. What a fantastic race from NZ Bro. Absolutely stunning race. And they're managing to keep the riders together as well. So only 3 to count. Haggerty, come on, let the others get on your wheel, pull it along. Beautiful riding. Look at No Pins. How well do they stay together coming towards the line, taking advantage of the drafting. Fantastic win by No Pins again. You can't take it away from them. They're a very experienced and very well-drilled team. But well done to NZ Bro for running them so close. Fantastic riding. But the action here is, this is less than 40 meters between these two teams, folks. So this is definitely going down to the wire. Now you can see Sibwa, they've split off 4 riders going for it. Pokemotion, 4 riders. Are we going to get down to 3, or are they going to stay together? I mean, Pokemotion know what they're doing. Linden pushing off the front. Sam up there, Aluni. So those 3 are going to be the 3 that finish it up. And who have we got for Sibwa? We got Noose, Moni and Rata, sorry. So 3 riders from Sibwa and 3 riders from, well, 4 riders from Pokemotion. Here we go. Pokemotion just get it by a couple of seconds from Sibwa. Absolutely fantastic riding. But we've got some more exciting finishers here. OTR Black. Now then, have we got anybody else? No, not really. OTR Black have got a decent gap on OTR Blue. Now, it's 3rd rider over the line, so Peter really should have waited for Sonnenberg, but there we go. 3 riders over the line. No worries, because they were so far, well, so far. They were well in front of OTR Blue, who are yet to finish, and 3R True 2 were chasing OTR Blue, but there's a couple of 100 meters gap here. So OTR Blue have no worries about 2R22 catching them today. 300 meters of give or take. So no worries here, but well done to both teams for putting in a huge effort. As I say, I'm going to be excited to see the 10 kilometer and then the final splits, because I do feel like some of the teams managed to overturn the disadvantage at the 10 kilometer point. OTR Blue are not finishing that hard in front of 3R True 2. Maybe did they ease up a little bit? I don't know. Or were they just out of gas? And here you can see my teammates, my old teammates, giving it everything coming into the line, and nice to see them staying together as well. There's Graham. Yes, really good finish, guys. Well done. Well done, Graham. Really good finish, Jonathan Stone there as well. Yeah, just superb. Well done. So OTR Green, are they fighting it out with anybody? No, not really. West London are too far behind OTR Green to challenge them. In fact, a kilometre behind. So there's no real gap here to. I mean, obviously, every team wants to put in their best possible result, and they won't know necessarily the results of the other teams. Some will if they went after and were able to catch the results, but many will not know the results of the other teams. So you have to put in, yeah, you have to put in the best effort you possible that you can put out on the day. And here we go, 3 riders from OTR Green over the line, Clive being the last of them. Fantastic racing. So TFC and Viper, now this is an exciting battle, because TFC and Viper, less than 100 meters, about 80 meters difference between them. It does look like Viper are going to come over the line first. They don't look to be slowing down any at the end here, and they've managed to keep 4 together. Whereas TFC are a little bit more fractured here. They've only got 3 riders, and you can clearly see that Deadpool is sort of like pulling off the front and leaving behind. Now that's what you try not to do. You try not to gap your teammates, because to get on your wheel they're putting in a lot of effort, and it's not a good tactic. Whereas you can see Viper, beautiful formation coming into the finish, working really hard. They're going to get this, not by much, but probably by about 70 meters, which is a good finish. All right, Jones jumps off the front, but they're too close to the end now to worry about it. But ideally you should be going over the line. I mean, you see teams like No Pins, they do it absolutely perfectly. They go over the line as a threesome together, and that's what you should be doing. There we go, TFC over the line together, well done at the end. So fantastic racing. We've only got 2 more to finish now. West London VR, they're easily going to take their spot because nobody to challenge them. Only 3 of the riders going over the line though. Thacker, Dickerson and Stu Fawn. Stu Fawn putting in an effort like he always does at the end. Nice to see. So yeah, well done West London VR. And it was fantastic to see them putting out a bigger team this week. Well done. Misfits, they're coming into the finish, so we'll get a look at Misfits, this new outfit. and they just look, yeah, they just look very, very strong. They still need, the reason why they're coming in at the back end here, folks, is because they still need to get the hang of team time trialing, what it's all about. You can see that they've got 5 now up the front. Maybe they need to think about changing their tactics slightly, and I'm pretty sure with 5 riders coming into the finish, maybe 3 of those riders could have pushed on, you know, a little bit earlier than everybody coming into the finish. It's nice to do, but you know, if you've got riders that are slightly stronger, you should be pushing towards the front and taking away 3 or 4 riders further away from the finish in order to get faster times. It's no good waiting until you're a few hundred meters from the line. But I don't know. I don't know how well these riders match each other. But well done, Misfits. Nice to see you taking part in the event. So that's every rider over the line. 38 minutes, so I was well wrong when I said 45. 38 minutes and we finished the event. So I did say about 40 for some of the top teams though, so I wasn't that far out. Okay, so here we go, and this I am really looking forward to seeing, because who managed to turn things around? Okay, we got Viper in 10th place at the end. So who overtook Viper? West London VR, Misfits, TFC, OTR Green, Sigma, OTR Black, OTR Blue, NZ Bro 2. That's what's throwing me out here. So no, folks, it does look like the results were the same at the end as what they were at the 10-kilometre split. I was almost convinced that some of the riders, and maybe they had actually out on the course, but the final results show that the team stayed in the positions they did at the 10-kilometre part. The reason why I was slightly thrown here is because you've got Tumik, NZ Bro Tumik, stuck there in 7th place. We weren't able to get coverage of them taking part, but we have put their result on screen for you. So that, yes, sorry Damon, who's just messaged me, that's why I was making the slight mistake. But you can clearly see there the 10-kilometre split and the finish, the teams remained in their same positions. Let's just have a quick look at the gaps though. So no pins. I mean, Beach DS closed it down. They were 14 seconds behind and they closed it down to 3 seconds. Now that is amazing, and because no pins generally go stronger in the second half. So Beach DS obviously had their tactics perfect this week. They're getting closer to no pins. Can they overtake it in the coming weeks? Pokemotion, they were 7 seconds behind, and in the end, that dropped out. They dropped off. Pokemotion dropped off towards the end. So yeah, they lost a fair bit of time in the second half. Sibwa, now they were only 2 seconds behind Pokemotion. That went out to 5, so nothing, absolutely nothing there. OTR Black, they were 15 seconds behind and a little bit more, so they dropped time in the second half. OTR Blue, OTR Blue also dropped time in the second half. True 2, let's have a look at True 2. What did we have? 15 seconds, and True 2 also were able to close up a huge gap actually. True 2, sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong, no, I should be looking at 2 above True 2. So True 2 also lost time in the second half. OTR Green, sorry I'm taking my time with this folks, I'm just trying to work out the differences between the teams. 14, 20, 33, 50 for OTR Green. Yeah, and OTR Green drop time as well. Viper 36, 22, so 24. Dropped a lot of time in the second half. TFC did well. TFC pulled back time in the second half. West London VR. West London VR sadly seemed to fall away a bit towards the end as well. If you look at there were 2 seconds from TFC, and then towards the end that actually went out to 50 odd seconds. So yeah, and Misfits, yeah, struggled a bit. So but some good results there. For me, the ride of the day was Beach DS. If you look at them pulling back from a 14-second gap to 3 seconds, I think we're going to see them closing up on no pins over the coming weeks. So nice to see. Yeah, here we go. NZ Bro. So, and then no pins obviously taking the win. Fantastic result, folks. We're going to wrap it up there. Looking for, well, we're not. We're going to have a look at the leagues first. So here you can see League One with no pins out front, being followed closely by Ciboire and Pokemotion. But look at the team in League 2, NZ Bro, Beach DS, and the points they're on. Okay, so yeah, I think we've got some results here which are going to swap around as we go further into the series. We're on to week 7 next week. So we're 2 weeks away from the end of the sort of 8-week series, but then we have the playoffs, so shall we say. Yeah, the playoffs. And the playoffs are going to be interesting. Now, there are still wild cards available, so you could still join the action. Get in touch with James over on OTR eRacing, James Ogilvie. But thanks everybody for watching, and thanks for putting up with me. It's been great to join you. It's done me a lot of good because I've really been suffering at my end. And thanks to Damon for sticking with me as well. Take care everybody, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.